Good morning, Northfield High School. Good morning, CCRs. It's that time of year again where we come together as a counseling team to talk to you about upcoming registration for for this next school year. So these next 3 days in CCR, you will be participating in registration and mapping out your future course plans for your time here at Northfield High School. So in order to do all of that, we first need to access the registration guide. So I'm going to have Mr. Enzard share his screen here, and we'll walk you through how to find the registration guide for the 24-25 school year. So once you're at the main website, you'll go to schools and down to Northfield High School. You'll click on Northfield High School, scroll down a little bit, and you'll find the student support tab on the left side of the screen here. Click the student support tab. You scroll about halfway down past the school counselors, and you'll find course registration and planning for 2024-25. Scroll down a little bit there, and you'll hit this big green button that will pop open a fresh new registration guide for you in a brand new window. And we'll walk you through, we're going to take you through the registration guide and things to know about registration here throughout this video. So the first thing you'll notice about the registration guide is this wonderful table of contents. It's sorted, it's sectioned out and sorted by graduation required courses and then by subject. So in the very beginning, you'll find your required courses and then your various subjects as you go throughout. And so on. Yep, world languages, art, all of your electives as you go further. One thing you'll also want to note, any new offerings are marked new, right? So if any new courses come up that you're interested in, make sure to take note of what is new for the upcoming school year. One really cool thing I like about our guide is our Northfield High School profile. Now this will get sent to colleges that you apply to as a function of an application in the future if you end up doing that. But it mentions our honors courses, it mentions our AP courses, a little bit about our high school. And I think the coolest thing that it does, at least the coolest thing for me, is it mentions the post-secondary plans of the previous graduating class. So you see the breakdown of our previous graduating class there, and then all of the schools that were attended, all of the four-year colleges and universities that were attended by our previous graduating class. One thing you want to note as we're thinking about registering and choosing classes for the next year is our course add drop policy. So please take note of when you can and can't drop classes. The other thing that I would like to note is you have to be registered for at least 6 courses. So the equivalent of 3 credits, at least 6 courses per semester throughout the school year. And another thing to note, prior to registering, of course, we try to get this number in front of you multiple times throughout the school year and multiple times throughout the course of your high school career, but the graduation requirements. It's important to note that 23 credits are required for graduation in these required areas below. So you can read what you need for each subject there below. And you also need 7 elective credits as well. So it's important to not only hit that 23 number, but to also make sure you're hitting all of the requirements needed for graduation at Northfield High School too. And once you graduate from Northfield High School, you move into life beyond high school. And I'll kick it off to Ms. Rasmussen to talk about that.
Thank you, Mr. Turnquist. Yes. During this registration process, we want to make sure you're thinking about what you want to take here in high school to earn that diploma, but also it's not too soon to be thinking about life beyond high school, because there are requirements that you might need to have for your plans after high school. So it's not too early to think about what you want to do post-secondary. So here in this guide, we see some information that technical schools, community colleges, and four-year colleges might require. So, for example, in the four-year college and university area, it says students might need 2 credits of a single world language. Now, that is not required for high school graduation, but it's something you need to think about and register for if your plan after high school is a 4-year college. So there's information in this guide that you'll want to look through. For example, if the military is something that you're thinking about, take a look at this page. And if we keep scrolling down here, there are tools that you can use, like Naviance, to help you do some searching and gather information. So Naviance you should be familiar with. Also, be aware of the NCAA Eligibility Center. If you are a student athlete and you're looking at competing at the D1 and D2 level after high school, you'll need that information. Listed here are academic supports. So if you'd like, you can read through those. You'd want to meet with your school counselor on those. But we have a lot here for you. So scrolling down, I want to take just a second to point out the dual credit opportunities. You are moving to a grade where there are some options for you to take credit or classes where you could earn dual credit, college and high school. So advanced placement is an option for you in science and social studies. So I want you to take a look at this, read through it. If you're interested, concurrent enrollment is offered here at the high school in certain courses. They're listed there for you. It would be nice to plan more than just next year and to know this information as you look ahead. The senior honors program would be something you could access as a senior through St. Olaf and Carleton. And then PSEO, post-secondary enrollment options, is an opportunity for you starting next year. So I would love for you to read through this, learn about the program. It's offered through the Minnesota Department of Education, the higher ed. You can read through that and meet with your counselor if you have questions. The criteria for acceptance and how to apply and what you can take is different in 10th grade versus 11th and 12th grade. So there's information here for you to take a look at. So this guide has a lot of resources that you would like to look at. So graduation required courses, moving on. Who's up next? Is that Mr. Ensrud?
Hello, I am up next. So we got through a lot of some information that not only for you as students can be helpful, but it's something to also make sure you're sharing on the home front. That stuff that Mr. Turnquist and Mr. Rasmussen took you through is really valuable when parents have questions. And sometimes when they start asking you as the student some questions that you're not sure about the answer to, it's a great way to deflect some attention and get them get those parents and guardians a resource that they can really chew on and get more details from. Okay, so as we start moving through why we really created this guide for students as we request classes for next year is the reality that each and every department is represented, and within each and every department is information about every single class we offer at Northfield High School. For a school our size, we have a wide array of options and just a ton of varieties. So this is a way to really learn from the source of the classes, and that is our outstanding staff of classroom teachers at Northfield High School. They took a ton of time to give us the information to put together in this guide. So we're going to take you on a quick little tour of what you can find in here and where to look for it, and then we'll hop into the, well, how do I request my classes part? So the arts section gives you, for the coming year, what counts towards the arts requirement for graduation. There are course descriptions of all these different offerings later on in the guide. Once you get into the grad required subject areas, it starts with English. You can see the layout and design for the grad required stuff, and that is a little bit of a pathway chart at the top. And you can see kind of chronologically what your choices are for each grade level as you move through Northfield High School, specific to the subject area. So we move through English, and we can do the same through all of our subject area requirements. Pausing on math because we now know that there's been, last year there were some course name changes. It won't influence or confuse current ninth graders going into 10th grade too much. But we know, as you hear from adults around you, we want to make sure you're clear on what your pathway looks like through math. Best source for that, your math classroom teachers are all prepped and maybe have already talked to you about what your options are for next year. And if that's still confusing, the good news is if you go in and make a math course request and you get it wrong, so to speak, and pick the wrong class, math department's got your back. They're going to verify all those course requests and you'll be good to go. So as we keep going through every required subject area, you can see all the things, and I'm going to go faster through some of them because once you get past core subject area graduation requirements, you get into some of the world language offerings. And once you get past the world language offerings, then it opens up areas of interest, which I heard Mr. Turnquist use the term electives. That's spot on. Your elective options certainly increase as you get older. You get access to a little bit more stuff as a 10th grader than you did as a 9th grader. And it's all organized by these area of interest that connect to career pathways. Again, every single class has a course description, talks about any prerequisites you may have needed in order to take a certain course. So what we think is the greatest benefit of this registration guide is, again, it's not just talking to your friends about, hey, what are you going to take and who's probably teaching it? It gets into the, what is the class really about based on the people who offer that course by department. So take advantage of that guide and it will really, I think, give you some good insights. All right. So once you feel like, okay, I get it, I know the classes, now what am I going to do? Back on the website where we access the registration guide, if you scroll down just a little bit further, there's the registration student instructions document that has all the details. Okay, and at some point, Ms. LaGrosse will chime in and interrupt when it's her turn. But until then, I'm going to start going through this document as well. Okay, so we start with kind of the registration steps. We're doing some of the pre-planning. That's what we're doing today. We're going to show you where all the stuff is, and then it's going to be your job to execute a plan of requesting classes. Mr. Turnquist in the registration guide referenced the schedule change policy. Oh, look, there it is again. We want to make sure you're aware of how challenging it is to make changes later. The reason for that is everything you guys do in the next 3 days helps us build a whole schedule for the whole school. It is your requests that create the initial schedule. And when we've got challenging class sizes and only so much budget to work with, we got to get it right the first time. I know in English class, you get to write a bunch of drafts before you turn in the final draft. In course request process time of year, we kind of got to get you to nail it the first time around because we build everything from your requests. All right. So take the time and energy it deserves. These are the exciting words that Ms. LaGrosse is going to explain momentarily about how to actually execute your course requests. And then the planning guide. So review what you did in 9th grade as you sit there, and then start realizing, okay, I got some stuff I want to get to, but maybe I can't get to all of it next year in 10th grade. Keep going, make a plan. You are now aware of our system, aware of your options. You can start to articulate, this can be a draft once you get beyond next year. If you want to start mapping out 11th and 12th grade, that's a great strategy. After the course planning, this is a little different than the layout of the registration guide. It is the list of courses. And the reason I'm slowing down is because it has all the course numbers, all right, for every class we offer. And you're going to see when Ms. LaGrosse speaks, the importance of those course numbers when it comes time to make your course requests. So here is another layout of every class we offer by department at Northfield High School and course numbers that go with them. Last document or last page on this document is some frequently asked questions. We hope you guys have questions. We hope you're not afraid to ask them. We also hope you take a look at this document to see what the most common questions are so that you don't feel like you're asking a question that maybe everybody else had. Here's where the questions that a lot of people had are going to show up. And hopefully this can help you navigate the process. And we close it out with always, always, always feel free to reach out to your counselor with specific questions or questions you don't want to raise a hand to ask, or you ask your CCR teacher and they're not sure, bounce it back to your counselor. We are here to help and support you in this process. With that, Ms. LaGrosse, is it time to toss it to you?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Inserd. Yeah, as Mr. Inserd was saying, if you need any help throughout this process, we're all here to help you. Counselors will also be out in the hallways tomorrow and on Thursday. If you have questions on those days, you can ask your CCR teacher for permission to go find a counselor and just go find the nearest counselor to your room. Okay, so with that, I am going to share my screen and take you through the registration process. All right, so we are going to go to Skyward. And then once you log into Skyward, you want to find the tab that says Schedule. And at the top, you'll see request courses for 2024-2025. Click on that link. And then now, Mr. Inserd was talking about those course numbers earlier and the importance of those course numbers. So course numbers are what you're going to use to find the classes that you need to and want to register for. So let's go through a couple of examples. When you're looking for classes, you can either type in the entire course number or just the first two numbers to pull up a list. Let's say we're registering for a PE class. Let's type in the first two numbers. That'll be 11. And then a bunch of different options under PE come up. So we are going to register for strength and conditioning. We're going to click on the class we want to take and then hit add course, which moves it over to this box, selected courses. And let's try the one, common 10th grade class, health. Type 12. And we see health, we click health on this left box and hit add course, which moves it to the box on the right. So we are now signed up for health, and that's a class that every soon to be 10th grader will be signing up for. So over here where it says total credits, you can see that my current credit count is 1. So you are not done registering until this total credit count says 6. You're required to sign up for 3 credits per semester, which adds up to 6 credits per school year. So keep registering, add your required classes first, your English, math, science, and social studies, and then your electives until this total credit count says 6, 6.5, or 7. So if you register for 6 credits, that means you'll have a study hall both fall and spring semester. If you want to study hall one semester but not the other, register for 6.5 credits. If you don't want to study hall or you're not sure right now if you want to study hall, you're going to register for 7 credits. You can always drop an elective for a study hall later. So once this total credit count here is between 6 to 7 credits, you are now going to request your alternates. And your alternates is the list of classes that your counselors will choose from if one of your preferred electives is not available or doesn't fit into your schedule. It's very important to request these alternates because if you don't give us a list of alternates, then your counselors have to try and figure out what classes to put you in. And the classes that we choose for you may not be the classes you would have selected. Okay, so we're going to click request alternates. Everybody needs to request 3 alternates. So let's say for my first alternate, I'm going to register for baking and pastries. Type in 53, which is the first 2 numbers. I'm going to click on baking and pastries, add course. And now at the top, you'll see baking and pastries and you'll see the number 1 next to it. So it's really cool. Skyward keeps track of how many alternates you've requested. So this is my first alternate, which would be the first class my counselor would look at for me if one of my first choices wasn't available. Okay, I'm going to request a second alternate. Let's do team sports. Sounds pretty fun. Add course. Team sports is now added as my second alternate. And then let's do lifeguard as my third alternate. I really like those PE classes. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. I have now signed up for 3 alternates. And if I change my mind and decide, I would rather my counselor look at lifeguard first. Look, it's really cool. I can move it up to number 1. And that shows my counselor that lifeguarding is my first preference if one of my first choices isn't available. So once you complete the registration process, so that means total credits are between 6 and 7, and total alternates is 3. You just simply X out, hit the big red X, and your course requests are saved. If you have any questions throughout this process, again, reach out to us, to your counselors, talk to your CCR teachers, talk to your parents or your current teachers. Those are also adults that could provide you with some helpful guidance in this process. And happy registering.
Good luck, everybody. I think Ms. LaGrosse mentioned, remember on your iPads, if you're going to do this, to use the web-based version. Don't try and use the app because the app doesn't let us do course requests. So that's your last friendly reminder. I know it's in the instructions. I think it was mentioned, but sometimes students get frustrated that why isn't this working? Web-based version. You're all good. All right. Good luck, everybody. Let us know if you got questions. Go
Take
team.
care.